and welcome back to Jenna Rae Cakes tutorials. I know I haven't done one in forever, it feels like, but it's been a little bit crazy and hectic with the world pretty much shutting down and having to restructure our business and pretty much start over. So thank you for bearing with me. But I am back. I've been excited to do another tutorial for a while now, so now I have some free time, so here we go. Today I'm going to show you how to decorate our cookie dough cupcakes. So we get a ton of requests on how we get our icing swirls. So it takes some practice to get the swirl right, but I'll show you some tricks and hopefully you'll get it down no problem and you can replicate this cupcake. Obviously we can't give you our recipes quite yet because we are doing a cookbook, which is so exciting. It comes out October 6th and it has all of our recipes in it. I know we've been hinting about it for a lot of these tutorials, but we weren't allowed to say just yet, so that's why we can't give away any recipes. But get that book and they'll all be available to you, and we use the exact same recipes that we use in our store. There's no tricks, no trying to hide anything. You get what you get. So definitely pre-order that if you want to follow along exactly, and you can bake these cupcakes yourself and do exactly this. So this will work with any type of recipe that you use, of course, but it's always best to use the exact one. All right, so what you'll need for our cookie dough cupcakes is cupcakes. So we do our vanilla cake base, or vanilla cupcake base for these ones. So we just have them all here, just plain. We have our edible cookie dough in a piping bag. I have some ganache in a piping bag. And we scoop our little cookie dough just into little balls like this on top with a little cookie dough or little ice cream scoop. So that's a topper for us. And then we have our buttercream. So we use American buttercream for this, and then we add a cookie dough syrup. So we buy that in bulk, obviously, but you can use any kind of coffee flavoring. I think it's called davincis. That's a good one to use. We used that when we started out, when we didn't need such huge quantities. So that's a good one, and I dyed it pink because why not? I love pink. And then for our icing tip, we get this question a ton. So for this design, we use 8B by Wilton. I'll link it below here so you know which one it is. But 8B is a great one. We use it for most of our cupcake designs. It's really universal, which is great. Have a piping bag for that. And then I have some parchment paper to practice some swirls on. I would recommend this for you if you're really uncomfortable with the piping bag quite yet. It's good to get some practice going instead of just doing it right in your cupcake and having to scrape it off. So, oh, and some scissors. So I think that is it. So let's get started. All right, so the first step for our cookie dough cupcakes is to stuff them. So with a lot of our cupcake flavors, we stuff them, so there's a bunch of flavor inside the cupcake as well. Lots of them we fold the ingredients right into the cupcake, but sometimes it's fun to actually stuff it so you get a big bite of whatever you want to stuff it with. So the cookie dough is an awesome one to stuff with. So what you want to do is poke a hole in the middle. So some people use a tip like this that's obviously doesn't have little pokey things. Your finger works fine, but I always use the end of a spoon. Okay. I always use the end of a spoon, so I'm just grabbing this wooden spoon, and then you just stick it right in the middle and just kind of give it a twist. I find this way is better too because you're not, some of those cores you can buy like cupcake cores or whatever. It kind of removes a bunch of the cake, and then this way it's still kind of in there. You're just like squishing it in there a little bit more so you still don't lose any of your cupcake, which is always nice. So I have my cookie dough ready to go here, and I'm just cutting off the tip. Okay, so then you just insert the tip down into the cupcake and you squeeze until it just naturally pushes it out. So you fill it until it's just full enough. And you just go ahead and stuff all of your cupcakes. Okay, so they're all stuffed, so sometimes I'll take my finger and pat them down. So as always, this is not what I look like when I'm working in the kitchen. My hair is always up, I'm wearing gloves. We also wear masks now. So obviously these aren't getting eaten by anyone except maybe I'll have a couple. Yeah, don't worry about my hair's not up, I'm not wearing gloves, all that stuff. This is just for teaching purposes only. I always have to say that. Okay, so these are all good to go. So then the next part will be piping the icing. So I will change the angle here so you can really see what I'm doing. Okay, so the first step is to mix up your buttercream. You want to get all the air bubbles out, like always, to have it nice and smooth, and it just looks better that way too. Then for your tips, you cut your icing bag. I just eyeball it. I obviously know I've done this multiple times, but you can always hold your tip up too, and then you kind of see where it needs to be, so you don't cut too big of a hole and waste a piping bag, because that's never fun. That in there. Trim it a little bit more. These scissors are pretty terrible, so if you can use better, sharper scissors. Okay. So then you're just gonna hold it with your hand like this under, and you fold it over, and that is, it'll keep your hand nice and clean. It makes it easy to add the buttercream. So you really want to make sure that you're not overfilling your piping bag. This is a large piping bag. I always suggest going with a large one instead of a small one, because the small ones are really tiny unless you're doing like decorating sugar cookies or something. A big one's always better. So that is as full as you would want it. You want to make sure there's enough room on the top to give it a twist. And then you just squeeze it to get all the air bubbles out. And we are ready to go. So we have our parchment paper here to practice on. So you just want to get comfortable with it and just start swirling it around. So our cupcake swirl starts in the middle and goes around once and comes up halfway. So there's a little bit of a hole in the middle. So it's one ring and a little bit coming over. So one ring and then stop coming over like that. So it's good to practice on parchment paper first, especially if you're unsure with where your piping skills are at, so you don't mess up your cupcakes. Okay, so now we have our cupcakes here. They're ready to go. So you take your piping bag, and like we did in the practice ones, you start in the middle, even pressure. So that's one thing too, you're not just squeezing this bag so hard. It's even pressure, light and easy, just so it comes out nicely. If you squeeze it too much, you're gonna get way too much icing on your cupcake. Squeeze and swirl. So you're not trying to come in at all. Like the circle you're making is the same the whole time, and you're just cutting it off. Instead of like going up and into like a little point at the top, that's not what this design uses. So you're staying on the outside. So obviously this is a lot harder than it looks, but that's what the parchment paper is for. Okay, see, so that was just pretty much perfect amount of icing. So there we go. They're all nicely iced. The next step with our cookie dough cupcakes is ganache in the middle. So I'm going to heat up our ganache. Okay, so I think I heated up a little bit too much, so it's going to be a little runny. I'm going to have this bowl here just to catch. This obviously is a step you don't need. It's just nice to add a little bit more chocolate in there, so it's pretty, oh yeah. So I'm just pouring it right into the middle. So this is exactly how we do our cupcakes at Jenna Rae Cakes. This is one of our most popular flavors too. So we haven't changed it up in a long time. Okay. Okay, so we have our chocolate ganache in the middle. And then I pre-scooped these little toppers, so we just top them on just like this. And then another option too, if you don't have these little scoops, you can just use your cookie dough. Just take a bunch, either leave it like this, kind of messy, or you can roll it into a ball and put it on top of your cupcake. So you don't need the scoop, it's just how we do it at the shop. So I'm gonna keep going with those because I like them to all look uniform. You can add sprinkles to them if you want. You can add, if we're doing the Works cupcakes, then we add blossoms and macarons and meringues. So lots of different options with these. Our cookie dough stuffed cupcakes. All right, so I'm just gonna cut into one so I can show you guys what it looks like on the inside. because the stuffed cupcake really gives a wow effect when you cut into it. So here you can see the cookie dough goes all the way through. So any cookie dough lovers, it is delicious. It's one of my favorite flavors for sure. It's so yummy. Oh, and messy. So yeah, that's what it looks like from the inside. Okay, and there you have it, our stuffed cookie dough cupcakes. So I took you through step by step, and then to really complete this recipe, you should definitely order our cookbook. It comes out October 6th. Jenna Rae Cakes and Sweet Treats is the name of it, and I'll link the pre-order link below, so you can do that. Then you'll get the recipe for everything, step-by-step instructions as well for cupcakes, cookie sandwiches, cakes, macarons, buttercreams, fillings, party squares. There's a bunch of stuff in there. We're so excited for you guys to see it and to bake from it. It was really a labor of love that took, I think it's been about 3 years. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and please tag me in your cupcakes that you make. I'd love to see it. Let me know if you have any questions about the swirl technique, anything like that. I think the biggest thing is just practice and really using your parchment paper to your advantage, and your cupcakes will turn out great, and they'll always be yummy too, no matter what they look like. So keep on trying. Let me know what you want to see next. I'd love to film some more tutorials, so give me some ideas, and I'll see you next time.